All right, welcome, man. My man John's on. This is gonna be an episode. This is gonna be one of those ones that is gonna TikTok, Instagram. It's gonna blow up because this man deals with forex and forex in the world. If you looked at our Instagram account, it's NFTs and forex get hit up every other day with all these bots and everything. So this one's gonna be hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so obviously, John, Mr. John Spencer, Mr. Spencer. Let's start with you. Rhino Capital's his name of his firm, but really he is the man when it comes to it all. So why don't we start with your story before we ask you a bunch of questions about what you do and how you do it. Let's start back with when you were young. How did John Spencer get to where he's at?
Wow, when I was young, I'm going to cut some time on that, and I'm just going to cut to the chase. I came from a super athletic family, and so my original vision was I wanted to be a professional and then eventually turn into this phenomenal athlete. Well, some of that got cut short. I fell into the fitness industry, and I was a big time fitness entrepreneur. Anything from literally designing gyms for high rises, resorts, hotels. I did do some fitness training. I also did a ton of fitness modeling for Smoothie King, Under Armour, Nike, DSN Sports. I had an amazing journey, but a wise man once told me, you'll always work for money if you don't figure out a way to make money work for you. And that really hit me. And I didn't know what I was going to get into, but now, I got into those early 30s and you start thinking like, okay, 30 is not so old anymore. I'm 39 now. And I was thinking, if I don't do it like now, when am I going to do it? I'll just start learning some stuff. Let me look at the financial market. I had an interest on, real estate, financial market, and banking. And the one that made the most sense at the time and the one that I felt I could pull alongside of my current businesses in the fitness industry, it was learning how to day trade. So then I went down these rabbit trails of day trading. I'm on YouTube. I'm doing all kinds of research. I'm talking to people. And the next thing you know, the one that didn't really explode, but was the biggest, most liquid financial market was Forex, also known as foreign exchange. And I was like, what the hell is Forex? I'm not going to do anything for my ex, but I was so interested in diving deep to what that was. And as I took that rabbit trail, I realized like, why aren't more people doing this? Why aren't more people talking about it? Well, it's the most liquid, multi-trillion dollars are moved every single day, 24 hours a day. So the stock world, the options world, it's typically an 8 to 5, 9 to 5 type of game. You need to come to the table with a substantial amount of capital. It's risk involved there, but you're going to have to really be a little more skilled actually, because the volatility may not be there or the leverage may not be there. You need a little more inside information with companies and the things that you're investing in. And I was like, man, this is not for me. I'm literally a fitness guy, fitness and nutrition. I obtained 2 degrees in the great University of Oklahoma State. And I studied business management and a little finance, but not enough to like be comfortable in the stock market. So I felt, well, Forex, it is more risk, but I didn't need as much capital to learn how to do it. And so the game was on. I got my tail kicked pretty bad. Eventually I turned $500 into 6 figures in a very short amount of time, in such a fashion that, okay, I made more in about 4 to 6 months than I did all year from my businesses. And I did it all in my PJs on my couch at my house. And that's when I said, maybe there's something here. Let me take this serious. But I had, no mentorship, totally new to this game. I called it beginner's luck, at that time. And what I knew was I had a taste of something that was real and it was serious. So I did what I tell most students not to do. I became a full-time trader. I burned my bridge. of fitness. I went to my partner and I said, man, I'm about to become a millionaire. Da, da, da. He was like, man, you're so crazy. Like, I'll see you next week. You'll be at the gym. And I told him, I was like, no, I'm serious. But no one knew that $500 became five and then eventually six figures. And no one knew that because it was a 24-hour market, I was able to do it around, I designed my life, if you will. And that's what I try to teach everyone that they can do. And I started to just any waking small window, I would trade 1 hour and I would try to see what I could see. And then I made it happen. And fast forward, it took me from the moment I went full time, I'll say, this was not from day one on upwards of about 15 months, but the moment I took it serious, it took me 15 months to become, a seven-figure earner in the space of trading and Forex. And I was like, wow, like this, someone's going to call me. There's no way this is legal. What am I going to do about my tax? Like I was going crazy. But then I thought, how you do some things is how you do everything. And what happened was I took my fitness work ethic, my athletic work ethic, my business mind, and I just poured that energy into trading, to be honest. And I was just so consistent with trying to understand why I made money. It wasn't just I got super emotional and I made money. I saw people do that and they lost the money or they blew the money. I was trying to figure out what was I doing to get to this point? And I journaled that entire experience. Well, since I was somewhat popular in the fitness industry with the gyms and the personal training, I had so many high net worth individuals that were in my circle. I had so many people that, they were just typical social workers. They worked for amazing companies, but they weren't those high net worth individuals. So I had these two worlds that I was 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And I was getting drilled with how in the world did you do that? I know you. You've been my fitness, guru, for the lack of better terms, for several years. And I know you're not bluffing. Why would you walk away from what you've been in this industry? I was in fitness since I was 18. And I got a kinesiology degree and exercise physiology degree. I got all the certifications and the accolades in that journey. And there are so many people that were totally shocked. Like, this dude just totally walked away from something he had been in over 15 years and had no reason to leave the fitness industry at all. That wasn't my expectation. My expectation was I could save all this money that I was, making, or I could invest it. And I wasn't quite interested in going to the bank and getting loans for, Airbnb projects or different things like that. So I went to day trading, and people saw that process all the way through. So becoming an educator was natural for me. Being a fitness and nutrition coach was my nature anyway. And so I simply turned around and started sharing my story. Like, hey, I don't know how to tell you what to do with your money other than I'll show you everything that I did. I'll show you everything that I'm doing. And you know what? Technology's here. We can all jump on a Zoom. You can come over to my place. And at the time, my condo had this amazing like movie theater with the whole stadium seating. So my place was like the hangout spot where we did game night and trading night. Um, and people would come over and my screen was on there. I'm like, let's get in here. Let's everybody just get in, on the practice accounts, on your real accounts. And I'm going to explain why I'm taking this trade. And I started this class called Inside the Mind of a Trader. I wanted them to see my thought process and why I was applying that methodology. So the thing that I think I had to contribute it to was I just took it serious. And I had a circle of people that they weren't qualified investors, but then all of those qualified investors, they came to me and they're like, listen, man, I love you. I'm not learning that stuff. Can I give you some money? And I was like, I do not know how to trade people's money. No way, no thanks. And one of my former fitness clients, he was a licensed trader for actually JP Morgan, and his name is Tony. And Tony circled back to me and he says, no, I've been doing this on my own, managing a few personal clients, and I'm under this exempt thing to where I can trade up to 15 clients and there's no cap on the money or anything, just a cap on people. And he said that this attorney out of Chicago helped him structure this whole setup. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll go pick this guy's brain. Well, little do I know who Doug Aaron was at the time. He sat on the board for, SEC. He's very big time. He's been in the industry of finance for over 40 years. And so I flew, took a trip to Doug, took him to lunch and started to pick his brain. And I was like, what do I do with people asking me to do this? How do I do this? And he helped me structure today what's Rhino Capital. Rhino Capital, you guys were, before we got started, you had jokes about, cats, and Stoy mentioned he would take a pet tiger all day long and maybe even a lion. For me, I would like a personal pet to be a rhino. I want my own rhino. If you ever see in my home, I've got rhinos everywhere. I probably have between statues and head fixtures, pictures, drawings. I have over 50 rhinos. I'm not kidding you. I literally have them within reach.
Your coffee cup.
Like, I mean, they're all over the place. They're coffee cup. You see it. I kid you not. I mean, bookends. They're all over. I got photos. This is my office. You can't see a whole lot now, but there's literally a lot here. And I do need to go into this if I can, Story. Take just a couple minutes and take a rabbit trail. Why rhino? Obviously, they're now becoming, extinct. But through the process, even before they got to where they are now, rhinos they're like this modern time unicorn. Little chubby, but they're modern time unicorn. And I thought about that. And I said, you know what? It's interesting how unique we all are. And the unique thing about rhinos is this. They're actually blind. That big tusk allows it to be a challenge to see forward, but they charge anyway. And I love that. I said, man, I don't know what the day is going to have in store for me around the corner, but I need to be relentless. I need to be focused, and I need to charge forward. And ever since then, I started collecting all these different crates. People have gifted me rhinos. I got a rhino cutting board, for crying out. It's crazy. And people started gifting me these rhino things. I'm buying all this stuff. And I did that to remind myself every corner of my home that I look, every time. I mean, I don't have a lot of tattoos, but one of the ones I have, it's
a rhino.
Can you see it? Yeah. It's a rhino. And I got that because I ended up in this situation, going back into my story to make all this make sense and why I chose the rhino for my power animal, if you will. I was going through this transition of professional baseball, minor league process, all this stuff. And as a little guy, since 4th and 5th grade, I wanted to play football and baseball. My dad played professional football. So I'm like, I want to play football. I want to play baseball. And I get to this moment that I have my opportunity with baseball. I did play both in college, but I had to choose, and I chose baseball. And my success was determined by being chosen. And I want you to really think about that, like being chosen. My success was based on someone else. And based on that and my agent at that time, I had a very short-lived, experience with professional baseball. And it broke my spirit in such a way that I slipped into this slight depression. Like I'm an athlete, like, what am I going to do? I mean, I had an interest in fitness because that was my college hustle. I made money in college. I trained, clients and things like that. But I hate tattoos and needles. Actually, I have a phobia of it, believe it or not. And I said, what can I get to remind me that I have thick armor-like skin and I'm going to be fine? I got to move on. I got to move forward. Blind to the future. What I thought was in my future wasn't what I thought it was. And there's these sayings, you make a plan and God's going to laugh at you. And that was me. At that time, I mean, I got at such a low point. It's crazy. And thinking back, everything happens like it's supposed to. And so I get this rhino tattoo to put myself through some pain. And because I was punishing myself for being so depressed and things. And I said, but I want something to have meaning. and I got this rhino. And then my only other tattoo is I'm an Aquarius.
There you
Shout
go.
out to,
Yep.
Story.
Let's get it.
Aquarius in end of January, and so I got my birth sign on one side, but I got this rhino to always remind me to have that thick, like, armor like skin. And so that day I realized rhinos only go forward, never backwards. I researched the crap out of it, and that's where the whole rhino thing came from. So back to trading. I ended up, you know, attracting these people after I talking to Doug. I'm like, he told me I can do this and it's legal and I can manage a few clients and get going, and that's what happened. I got started and honestly had no idea what I was doing. I probably shouldn't have been doing what I was doing, but I started managing capital. It was just myself as a long ranger. And the next thing you know, did I say long ranger? I meant
You
lone
sure
ranger.
did.
Lone. Yeah, lone. Y'all,
Hey,
no
rhinos
one caught
rhinos
that.
aren't the most intelligent animal. So that there it goes.
Hey, watch that. Watch that.
Wow.
Watch that.
Wow.
Shots fired, baby.
Watch that. Mammoth, they didn't make it through the ice age. I'm just saying. So uh I then become this lone ranger of doing all this on my own, and I ended up getting some mentorship and partnering with that mentor, and that fizzled out. It never made sense. And the next thing you know, I'm expanding. Rhino Capital is expanding. Why was it expanding? Because I learned a very unique Japanese bank trading technique that there's actually very few in the world that understand it. And I put my own spin on it with some smart money institutional trading concepts. And I call it the smart cloud. And with this whole methodology, it is a system. It is discretionary trading, which means it's manual. I don't use robots and all that stuff. I have had an experience with robots. I don't personally believe in them, but that's for another conversation. Um, I love it because it allowed me to glance and see the trend of these currencies. My focus for Forex is currencies and commodities and the metals. And the reason I chose that is it's very difficult to manipulate those instruments. They are affected by, well, world economics. It's affected by goods and services being traded across the world, banks making deals, doing big deals like that. War certainly can affect it, which I'm sure we'll get into that on another subject in a moment. But global things impact it. And this methodology that I've coined, the smart cloud, it allows me to see the trend of the market, where the market's going to make its turnarounds, its pivots, those corrections, supply and demand zones, uh, all of the aspects that most traders are using individual indicators. This is this big one system that encompasses it all. But now you got to ask yourself, well, John, if it's that good, why don't more people know about it? Why don't more people use it? It's very confusing in the very beginning. It's a lot of stuff, and you have to learn what to look for. And me being new at that time, flashing back almost 7 years ago now, it was intimidating, but as I stuck with it and I did the whole trial and error, I call myself a mad scientist, if you will. I literally just kept getting my tail kicked, and then I noticed learning from those mistakes, and I started to clean that up. And so I attracted so many big time investors because I average anywhere from 10 to 30% return monthly. And
Wait,
most
say
of
that.
those
Wait, what was that?
guys,
Say that again.
that
Am I good
that
here?
is in your
Yeah,
turn the other way.
yeah.
I don't know which is your good ear.
This is the good ear. Can you say that again? What did you do? What do you do monthly?
Okay. So I average 10 TEN
Yep.
to about 30% return monthly, not annually, not semi-annually, not every 6 months, 30 to 45 days. I do such numbers. Now, folks who are listening, this is not an income claim. I cannot guarantee,
Right.
trading
All the
has a
disclosures,
lot.
all them.
Yeah. Hey, listen, trading is full of risk, and it's not a joke. It's a real game, and it is a game mentally. But with proper risk management and a proper mindset and a proper consistency, The reason those numbers are obtainable in the world of Forex is we have something that the stock world may not offer, and that's leverage. That's big liquidity. That's such a volatile market for 24 hours, Sunday evening to late Friday evening. It's all day long. It's every currency you can think of, from obviously the dollar and the Canadian dollar, the yen, the euro, the Great Britain pound, um, the Aussie, the New Zealand dollar. Every world currency is in this game. And then you got the metals, you got the cash side of gold and silver and crude and and Brit, all of the big commodities, there's a cash side. And then you have the indices side, which is where they roll up the stocks, the top stocks in groups, and there's a cash value on that. So I trade those volatile movements, those volatile plays, those price exchanges. So right now, not to deviate from where I'm at with this, but right now there clearly is a war going on. Um, and there's no joke about that. It's a serious subject. It's a touchy subject. But what's happening with money right now? Money's still moving. Deals are still happening. Banks are still trading. Countries are still trading. While the origin of this war is very close to that Europe area, there's an inflation on the dollar. There's a high demand on the dollar. That's a safe haven currency. There's a high demand on gold and silver, the metals. I call it God's money, the original currencies. As this is happening over on the other side of the world, those currencies are losing value. They're dropping in strength. Okay. But as one or two currencies are weak, another currency is strong to keep the balance. Okay. And so these price changes to everyone else, let's say we travel to Europe right now, and let's pretend, there's four of us here. There's Ryan Stoy, there's Miss Lindsay there as well. Let's say we all went to Europe and we only had 1,000 US dollars. And when we go to Europe, normally when you take a vacation, like, yeah, let's switch this out for the euro, you get super excited. And I'm bleeding into what Forex is, what it really is. And we exchange this 1,000 USD for that euro. And because the dollar over there may be valued at $1.50. So that .50 in my world, everything after the decimal goes to infinity. Yeah. We learned that in elementary. But in the world of the currency's value, that 50, that 50 cents is 500 points or pips. That's the price difference on what the true value is, for the lack of better terms. I'm trying to keep this very simple. I'm also not trying to take us into a teaching moment. We're supposed to be talking about my story here,
Right.
But um, you know, this value of .50 is 500 pips in my world. If I understood that and I caught the timing on it precisely, applying my methodology, all the confirmations, and I noticed, man, the dollar can go from .50 to $2 in value, just 50 cents difference. But not in my world, it's a 500-point difference. And so if I invested, in between 1% and 5% of my capital, I'll just give you a very small frame example. $1 can become $500. Yeah. That is what's actually happening. And so now the banks are doing this with our money. Um, the banks are very smart. I love that they allow people like me into the game, but they just hope you never learn how to do it successfully long enough. They don't care if ordinary people trade in Forex. You don't have to be licensed to be an individual to do it, but the licensed traders are getting my same returns. They just don't have to give you more than you agreed to get. Let that sink in. And so the hard part for trading isn't trading. It's really not. That's simple. It's how do I have proper risk management, minimize greed, and how do I play this game patient enough to see this trade turn to fruition, or wait for it to happen to begin with, or all these things. And it's all mindset. Most people have this microwave thinking. They did it when I was a fitness guy too. John, you told me I can't eat fried chicken and donuts, so I don't want to train. They don't want it bad enough. They want the shortcut. How can I eat my fried chicken and still drop 100 pounds? It doesn't happen. That's not the right formula for fitness success. Well, when you come to trading, it's not the right formula for trading success if you come to this game with a scarcity mindset, a greed mindset, or very low patience, and you have an issue balancing your emotions. So those were the things that I had to learn. And once I honed that in and attracted all of these big time investors at that time, and was able to consistently average, literally 10 to 15 to 30% monthly, I didn't have to convince anyone to, put their money with my firm. And then for the students that I attracted, because they were not qualified investors, which by the way, once a qualified investor, you need about 250K for me to touch someone's account to even think about it. But as I'm connected with people like Stoy, we jump numbers up to 1M, or we won't trade your money. Um, that's just the nature of this industry because of the volatility. It can be very dangerous if you come to the table with a couple $100. It's not realistic. You can trade in this industry with that amount, but it's not realistic to be a full-time or successful trader. And so I started to go to those people that trusted me but weren't qualified for me to trade their money, and I started teaching my methodology. And so I do have an educational platform. I've got a team of educators, and we literally walk them through the ABCs of trading and get the fundamentals down, get the mindset down, and we slowly graduate them to learn how to fish for themselves, and not depend on every trade to come from the educator. We do trade with those students. We have a community. They're able to reach out for questions, concerns, throw their trade ideas to us and see if we see the same thing, if we agree. And it's cut the learning curve for a lot of people. It can take someone truly 2 to 4 years to really become somewhat successful. And what I call successful is getting 30% a year. Just 30% a year, you're a successful trader. Can't be full time with those type of returns, but to be successful in this game only takes 30 to 40% annually. To be full time, you're going to have to figure out a way to cut the time on those type of returns, and get it under the 3 month window. But that's something that we teach. We don't hold back any secret sauce or anything like that. The thing that I love about this is Stoy's not opening, Stoy and Ryan's gym across the street from my gym, and now I have competition. This is a minimum $7 trillion per day market. 7 trillion with the T, not B.
What do you mean? So a couple mil won't move that market?
It will not. It will not.
Nah.
And to be quite honest with you, Story, even a billion may start to play with it. You're not going to control this market at 7 trillion on the low end, because banks have way more money than that, as you know. And so the banks are the big players. The hedge funds, the mega hedge funds, are the big players. And so when you come to this table with a small fraction, they don't care about you. They will literally eat you alive when they change the prices on gold up or down, and you're trying to sell when they're buying, or you're trying to buy when they're shorting it. And we teach you how to think like those guys. We teach you how to trade with the whales. And we're these little guppies, and we're just swimming on the side of the big whales, and you can profit that way. And so that's what our education platform focuses on, is what are the fundamentals to one day become, a profitable trader, and then possibly even full time if that's their desire. And how can we keep the money? Because that's the biggest part, is capital preservation. Anyone can get lucky and make some money in the financial market, but can they do it every single time? Can they do it every single month, every single year, 5+ years? And so we cut that time down, we cut the learning curve down, and we expedite the confusing to be minimized so they can be profitable. And so my enclosure, my story attracted people that weren't qualified investors. So I had to teach them. I didn't want to leave my own family and friends behind, old college teammates and folks like that behind. And I also didn't want to not trade, you know, those 6 and 7 figure clients that I have. And I was trying to figure out this win-win. And so I had to put something together with my entrepreneur mindset. I was like, man, there's a way to do both, and I want to be able to do both as long as it doesn't distract me. And teaching doesn't distract me because I have to look at the market anyway. Um, the not so fun thing about what I do is, well, it is a 24-hour market. So I have students all over the world, tens of thousands of students all over the world on different time zones. So their questions come around the clock. Um, their friends join around the clock and things like that. And so I do have to be pretty accessible. But when it comes to trading, I have to look at the market for myself. And the tough part is the master account for the capital management is my own personal account. So in other words, if I'm not having a good day, no one's having a good day. That can be good or bad. What I can tell you is I'm not a robot. And so I'm able to see what's going to happen potentially, what should happen. In a robot, you program them to do one thing. When this happens, that happens, hit the button. And I go through a process. I do have a group of traders that manage some capital. I mentor. We will eventually be expanding, you know, both Kala and Rhino Capital because of this. But since I already always look at the market for myself, it doesn't bother me to have students on the other end. They can't talk to me unless I want them to. They can't they can't make me deviate from what it is that I need to see for my own trading. And then when I hit the button on my trading account, everyone wins because it's a master account of individuals owning their own accounts. And so Rhino Capital does not actually touch any funds whatsoever. So
Absolutely. And
it's kind of a win-win, right?
Lisa's joining us now. I have her jump on. Love the story, love the journey. But now let's get into kind of the mindset of it too, which is very important for people who are going to get involved in this industry. Our industry doesn't matter. Um, the reason he can be accessible, the all the purpose behind that, is because he takes care of himself mentally and physically, obviously. But I don't have to worry about that part, right? um, and a lot of that comes to the hours and his family life. Now, I've met his wife, Ash. She's amazing, and seen her on the golf course, by the way.
Oh, really?
Especially compared to him. Woo! But to have that home life and to be able to balance it, let's talk a little bit about your day, your actual day. Walk us through, you know, when you're up in the morning, things that you do to basically when you put your head on your pillow.
Wow, I mean, is it got to be that personal? Like
Oh,
literally
yeah.
till I put my head on the pillow?
Well, I mean, you can leave out a little bit of the details. We don't need all
Okay.
that.
Okay. So I get my I get my day started about 4:44 a.m.
A.M.
Uh-huh.
Is that a
To
lucky
be
That
number?
just approximately that time, right?
4:40 a.m. Yep.
no, it's that
Yeah, I
actual. It's
gotcha.
that actual. And I do my whole liquid fast routine and I go to the gym. So about 5 a.m. or so, about 5:15, 5 a.m. I start my workout. Um, I still do high intense interval style trading, training. Um, and I like that because I don't have to be in the gym for hours. I'm in there a hardcore 30, 35 minutes max. That's counting all my warm up, my mobility stuff that I do, all the strength and core things I do. Um, and then I sit down to trade and all that stuff about 6. But a few minutes before trading, I work on my goals. I work on my mindset. I take time to I say focus. Some people call it meditate, tomato,
Right.
whatever. But I take some time to myself and just clear my mind of any emotion that I could be holding on to. I want to trade with a clear mind. and just follow my rules. And so right around 6 a.m. is the leaning toward the closure of the London banks. The London banks will then begin to hand over the baton to the New York banks at about 7:30, 8 a.m. Central, um, which is 9 a.m. Wall Street. And so I want to be in my seat, focused, ready to go by then. But I begin looking a little early, looking about an hour advance of that time to see, like, okay, where are they going to go if they go long? Where are they going to go if they go short? Remember, I'm just a little guppy here, trying to find what the whales are thinking. And I pre-analyze before market opens. I can take trades if I see them ready to go. And then I take a handful of hours at that point. I'm talking 3 to 5 hours that it takes for me to enter, exit, and already profit from the market. My daily goal is usually I don't end the day with, anything less than 1 to 5% growth. There's times where I get twice that in that single day. It really is. And I also take that in a reverse. If I happen to lose 5% of my trade, then typically I'm done, because I don't want to force something or chase something. That crushes so many traders is, oh, I lost, now I got to hurry up. I got to get in and make this back, and I got to do this, I got to do that. And that's that nature of, I just lost something. But this is a 7 trillion per day market. So if I take an L, I walk away, I breathe, I go for my little walk or whatever I need to do, and I could come back and look and see, or I'm completely done till the next day. Um, that is probably the toughest part of trading, is if I have a day that doesn't go, my way or the way I expected it. And usually if that happens, let's say I do take a loss, because I want to talk from that standpoint, I sit in silence, refocus again, rethink my goals, all goals, not just, whatever, trading goals. And the next thing you know, I blink, it's usually about 2:30 p.m. and the boss gets out. The boss is 9 years old. That is the boss. I drive him everywhere. I chauffeur him wherever he needs to go. Um, he has, select soccer and basketball practice and trainings and trainers and all this stuff. And I call him the boss for a reason. It's not just because of the chauffeur and he gets to choose where he wants to eat and all these things. It's, LeBron and Chris Paul are playing. We need to go to Phoenix. I want to go hike and I want to go to the game. And he literally dictates my day. And so usually before 3 p.m., I've closed trades, or I've got them down on an alert system to continue managing them if I need to, if for whatever reason I'm not out. But in between that 3 and 6, 7 p.m. window, it's daddy duty. I actually co-parent the boss, and he's not always with me. It's 50-50. And so when I get him, he gets my time. He gets my attention. You may not hear from me on I don't take phone calls. I might take a text depending on who it is. Obviously, hello Story. If Story texts me or calls me, any of my business partners reach out to me, I will answer my calls or those texts. But otherwise, you cannot reach me in between that window of about 3 to 6 p.m. If he's at practice, I don't do the phone call while I'm watching practice thing. I don't. And then I get back to my me time. Usually he's down to rest at about 8 p.m. Story said personal. So just throwing that out there. And then during that 8 to 10 p.m. window, I'll have QT time with the missus. I'll break down my day if I need to. I will read at that time, clear any energy or thinking that I have. If I'm bored, you betcha I look at the market. It's 24 hours, so I'm like, for example, a couple weeks ago, I had no idea war was happening. It's sad. I don't watch a ton of news. But a couple weeks ago, apparently bombs happened. Okay. And I happened to sit, and it was in this 8 and 10 p.m. window. That's why I'm going down this tangent. I sit and look on, my laptop, and I'm like, gold's about to shoot to the moon right now. I, I need to hit the button. Let me just double check. Let me, do my thing. And I did not know what was going on, but I go into my community. I push notification through our Trade Ideas app, have a trading app for the students to just, take trades. They can agree, disagree, copy the information. And I put this trade in, I hit the button as well. And I ended up making 77 grand in about an hour. And I was like, what is going on? It's still moving. I need to get back in, but I didn't. I ended it there because I said, I don't want to go to bed and I have a trade position open. I'll be pissed if it doesn't go my way. And so I didn't know what happened. And as I was asking the students, did they get in? And they said to me, well, yeah, it's news. It's crazy. And I was like, news? What news? I just saw what I saw, and I usually don't trade in that window, but if I happen to sit, I'd rather be trading than watching some boring TV show, unless it's Billions, 1883, or
Let's
Yellowstone.
Let's get it.
I don't make time for any other shows.
Let's get
Not
it.
my thing.
Hey,
have you guys seen Billions? Please tell me.
I'm starting.
Hello?
I'm starting
Yes.
Billions, but I've been through 1883 in Yellowstone.
I finished the 10th episode of 1883. It was tough, but
That was tough.
I loved every bit of it. My mom is 80% Comanche, so there were some Comanche Indians on that show, and I was like, okay, those are my people, or were something.
They're around here.
And so I loved that. I loved that whole 1883 and Yellowstone series, and I watched Billions, but I gotta tuck it in. I'm an old man, I'll tuck it in at usually no later than Lisa. Don't you? Not Lisa. Lisa, hi Lisa. I just met you. I meant Lindsay. Sorry, this L thing is tripping me out here, but let me look to Lindsay.
Yeah.
Okay. But Lindsay, it's 10:10 for a reason, and that's my bedtime. I choose to go to bed at that time. And then I regroup. Now, if I happen to have trade positions open and I need to check them, I need to manage them. This is kind of key. You literally said everything personal, so I got to say this part. London opens at about 1:30, 2 a.m. Central. And if I happen to have trade positions that I'm still managing for whatever reason, I do wake up in that window of when London's about to open. That's at the end of the Asian market and the Australian market. The turnover is in between at 1:30, 2 a.m. Central. And so I may get up. Lindsay, you want to guess? What time? No, close. Either 1:11 or 2:22. I wake up.
I was going to say 2:22. I'm not going to lie.
Do I need to show you guys? I'll show you on my phone. But I get up at about 2:22 and check out London to see what's happening. Like, hey, am I good on these positions? Like, do I need to, hedge it or and so I do get up for a window of about 2 to 3 hours. I do a sleep cycle so that I can do that. This is usually that only happens in between Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the biggest FX trading times. But like I said, the market does open Sunday evening. It is happening on Monday. It definitely happens on Friday. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are my core 3 days where I might do some type of sleep cycle. And so then reverse it all from there. 4:44, wake up, do my thing. I actually work out. I know I look, dangerously handsome. And I still got, ironically, at the age of 39, and I just turned 39 in January. I told you my birthday. At the age of 39, I'm still rolling with a cool little 4 to 6 pack over here.
Look at you.
It's yeah, and I fast, but not intermittent. I just fast. And it's really working out for me. I'm quite shocked. I'm like, am I gonna? Some of my teammates, man, you can't tell they play ball or anything. And I'm like, I'm not having it. I ain't gonna be so. Tuesday and Thursday.
You guys are looking at each other.
I mean, I know his teammates' pain, so I can't say much.
And so I only do my high intense resistance in weight training about 2 or 3 times a week. The other times I love going to do some golf on slow days in the market, which typically are going to be obviously a Sunday, Monday, or maybe a Friday, something like that. I am getting better at golf, Stoy. You keep your opinions to yourself. But the missus is a phenomenal athlete all the way around, and one of those sports that she's great at is golf. But for me, it was difficult because with baseball, since the 5th grade, I had to hit 100 to 200 balls, not kidding you, multiple nights a week before I could even come inside. That's the work ethic that your boy used to really have. And so coming out and playing golf, and I don't swing my club that many times in 3 or 4 times a week, it's been a challenge for me to convert my hip speed and realizing the club does the work and not my bat. I don't have, it's a different game for me mentally too and mechanically. And so I do try to do some golf Sunday or Monday. I hate going on Saturday. Everybody's there on Saturday. Yeah. And I don't want people in front of me or behind me. And I don't want to be grouped with anybody either. So I try to buy all the positions around me sometimes. But I end up, golfing on those days. Weight days are Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then I still run my sprints. I go to SMU, I run bleachers, or I'll find a football field with turf, and I literally run 100s and 40s and 50s, and my wife kills me, literally. She has ridiculous endurance, and so I have my competition happening. But that's literally everything. What I just told you is that time I work up. I do that whole thing Monday through Thursday and some Fridays. And then Friday when the market closes about 4 p.m., you probably can't reach me. That's my me time.
That's your time.
That's my fam time. Right. That's my jump on the plane and
get
go
the
somewhere random time.
You should come up here if you like snow.
Nah,
tornadoes.
But see, I can't snowboard. So I go to Colorado. I go to Utah, Tahoe. I go to those places where I can actually do something in the snow.
We have a couple.
We have a ski resort that's like, I wouldn't call it a resort. I'd call it some hills, like an hour away.
Boone, yeah.
You can learn, but
and they also have a great golf course there. By the way,
we only can golf 6 months out of the year tops.
Well, I'll come within the 6 months.
There we go.
There we go. I think what you said is important. One, everything you do is structured and it's a business, right? Making business decisions. We've said this multiple times in life, but also on the pod of there's business decisions and personal decisions. Personal decisions come into play with emotions. Business decisions should not at all. I do this thing. This is my structure. I stick to that. And I think it's really important how you laid out your day for 2 reasons. One, it's structured when it's structured, but also it's flexible. It can change depending on what's going on. And you're not sitting there behind the computer all day obsessed about the market. Now, you are obsessed with the markets, but you're not obsessed by the markets. And the difference there is you're not just sitting here watching it all day long. You know your triggers, you know your points, you've done your research, and then you move on and let your alerts let you live your life. And I think traders, day traders, whether it's Forex or equities, it's the emotions that is the reason they fail. It has nothing to do with the business structure. Well, it can do with the business structure, but it's usually emotions, chasing, getting stuck. Those are all things that really hurt you. And I think it's important that you said that message to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been writing down stuff. I always do this just for a summary at the end, but that was one of the big points that I hit is not only are you setting parameters for yourself and your trading, but you're setting them in your life too. Like you make sure, I think one of the biggest and most important things is you're making sure that you have a family life and you're making sure that, you're giving your kid every opportunity as possible. You're spending your time with a wifey and you're doing the right things and still taking care of yourself as well. I mean, I think sometimes that gets lost in translation of I get so pigeonholed and so focused on one thing that I just forget about my mental health. I forget about taking care of myself, and then that's when you start to spiral.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I really like it's almost like the athlete, like recovery performance, like that oscillation that you need. Like I see that deep work that you need to trade, and then you get out of it and get into other things and then back in. And I think that's a good lesson for all of us.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the quotes that I wrote down here, and it's actually funny. So I wrestled in college at UNI, and this quote was written right outside of our room, our wrestling room. So when you said it, I'm like, holy smokes, this is a real thing here. But it was, how you do anything is how you do everything, and how you're trading, that's how you live your life too. I mean, you're doing it in the windows. You're setting your goals, and you're focusing on the things that are important to you. And like I said, I mean, how you do anything, how you do everything. You're making it and you're living it right now.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anyone else? You got any more questions for him?
I'm gonna have to just like sit down and decompress and just kind of reflect and go. I mean, I took 4 pages of notes here, just scrolling through. I mean, I was kind of infatuated the whole time.
I just want to know what's your, and you maybe already answered this. What's your favorite part of all of this? Like, what really energizes you? What do you love?
Man, gosh, that's a tough question. It's a few things. My why isn't just a single thing. I think one of my whys is I love what Ryan just said a second ago about keeping things balanced, and the things that he noticed in my statement and that's there's so many people that they work their butts off. They work them off for who? Oh, my family, my kids, my friends, whatever, but they don't spend time there. It's completely thrown off. And so one of my whys is, life is short and sometimes shorter than that. And when I think about that, one of my educators made that statement. And when I thought about that, I was like, wow, so many of us get boggled down with the day to day. And then you blink and now you're not 39, you're 49, then you're 59, and then you're 69. And then you're like, what happened to life? My why is literally living, not just passing by and all those things. I want to live. I want to thrive, and that's my why, and that's why. Listen, it is not fun sleep cycling and waking up at 2:22. I got to tell you, especially when I do it and there's nothing in the market. I'm like, oh man, I'm pissed now. I'm up. Like, do I go work out? Do I go walk? What do I go do? And then I'm up at 4:44, and I just got up at 2:22. So I'm like upset, but then I clear my mind, and it's like, how can I push through that? Is I'm here to thrive. It's not just to blink and say, yeah. It's not about money for me. It's not. And honestly, I don't know that it ever was. Yeah, I like nice things. I love to relax and go on some cool vacations. That's why I would be so tough for me, just going and just being cold for nothing. But I want to snowboard and I want to eat some good food. I want to pull out a snowmobile too. I don't want to just, we can only go and snowboard because money dictates what we get to do, right? And how your experience goes. That's my other why is I don't, and you need money to do certain things. I don't want to just take a vacation. I want to literally do whatever I want on that vacation and come back when I want. That's the key part. Come back when you want to come back, not because you have to come, or your money says you have to come back, or a boss says you have to come, and those things. In fitness, I made money, but I couldn't enjoy my vacation. Something happened at the gym, or I had to get back. The gym wasn't going to be the same, or lo and behold, with fitness clients, like you miss them too long, they fall off. Gone longer than 3 days, they're done. And so for me, my why is designing my life. I use the word thrive, but it's really just being able to design my life, create a legacy to shortcut for, my son and beyond, that trading is a skill. As long as you have currency, you're going to be able to trade in Forex. As long as there's multi-currency. Well, John, what about crypto? We can trade crypto too. Leverage it against the dollar or leverage it against other cryptos. You actually can trade that in Forex. And so designing my life, legacy, and then, I would have done traditional things as a fitness guy and following what they taught me in my whole 6 years of school. in college, and I would have did traditional things. Let me jump into real estate and let me jump into this and jump into that. And so why I teach is if an ordinary guy like me can figure this out, I'm going to pay it forward to anyone that wants to listen. It's not for everybody. There are some people that will never change their mindset. But like Ryan said, they're not going to change their mindset about anything. They're not going to get better with their fitness and their health either. They want to keep eating what they want to keep eating, and they're never going to get results, and they're just going to complain about it. And I'm not looking to help those people. I'm looking for rhinos, those rare people. Like I threw that in. Yeah. I'm looking for those rare people that are serious about, I want to shift my financial future under my control. I don't mind taking 4 years to get there, and whatever that looks like. And that's why I teach. Why do I trade for people that already have money? That's a good question. But the real reason is the banks are already trading our money. They're just not giving people back transparently those full returns. And so for me, man, I know what my averages are, but man, if I could get these people a 30 to 50% return even annually, we're beating the banks. Don't save the money. Don't just put it in a Roth or whatever. Like, let's show you how powerful Forex is. And I think people should have that experience. Some will, some won't, and I don't care. But the people that actually do care, I think that it's my duty to not keep the secret of trading Forex to myself. And so that's my other why. That is what drives me. And the people that I see that were ordinary single moms and soccer moms and guys that were literally just construction workers, now they're full-time traders, and now they're making what they would make in a year, they're making it in 6 months, or maybe pay off debt, or maybe buy that cool car or whatever. They share those moments with me, and that is what gives me more life to, man, who else can I help? You know, and now I have friends all over the world that literally are opening their doors, and I haven't even been to New Zealand, for example, and I've got somewhere around just under 600 students in New Zealand. Never even been, never met half of those, more than half of them, and to see what may be a lot of money to me or a little money to me, it's a lot of money to them, and they can go make it again next week or next month. And that's what's powerful. That's my why. And that's what wakes me up at 4:44.
I love it.
It's awesome.
Absolutely love it. But let's summarize this a little bit. So your journey, it'll be out there. You got an education program, obviously. If you want to get in touch with him, we're going to have all his stuff splattered everywhere. Obviously, you can get with us. He's our partner, so we'll get you to the right location as well. He's also going to be live on our podcast on April 20th. Yes, 420. Make it. Yep.
Hey.
We get through it. Yep, we good? Okay, cool. Yep, on 420. So we'll have a little live Q&A. He's going to tell a story a little more. And at that time, a little more detail of the education platform. So we might have a little surprise for you at that point in time. Outside of that, what last message do you want to leave to the audience about MrJSpence, Forex, etc.?
I would like to say, even though I'm just little old me, actually I'm not that little, you know, I'm 6'1", give me my credential. He said all the details. I'm 6'1", about 215, pretty lean, but you know, I'm just little old me. And if I can learn this skill, so can anyone that takes it serious. You just have to be a rhino and relentlessly charging forward and following what someone else can do, you can too, and just following what they do. That's really it.
I love it.
The preceding program was sponsored by Black Mammoth. Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Black Mammoth. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Black Mammoth website, www.blackmammoth.com. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to affect or attempt to affect transactions and securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice due to various factors, including changing market conditions. The information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up-to-date, Black Mammoth do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature and is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Past performance is not indicative of future results.